I'd like to reopen the Washington Unified School District Board of Education meeting. And I know Lisa's been working really hard tonight. Let's, Lisa Core, if you can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcements of actions taken in closed session. Government Code Section 54956.9. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision B, one case. No action taken. Government Code Section 54957, public employee discipline, dismissal, release. The board met in closed session to discuss Government Code Section 54957, paren B, paren 1, public employee discipline, dismissal, release. The board took the following action. With the roll call vote, there were five voted yes and 0 voted no, to adopt the resolution 1415-23, releasing 15 temporary employees to take effective June 4th, 2015. And Government Code Section 54957, public employee superintendent, information given. Communications and celebrations. Dr. Gilliam?
Thank you, President Cruz. We do have one celebration this evening. I want to recognize and thank Centennial Rotary Club of West Sacramento for donating $592.81 of 110 horse-themed books for the library at Riverbank Elementary School. Thank you, Rotary Club, West Sacramento.
And we have student association reports. Student board member?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will be starting with Southport news. This week, 30 of our top readers were visited by Ben McLemore of the Sacramento Kings. Southport was nominated and selected as a recipient of the 2015 book donation program presented by the Golden One Credit Union and the Sacramento Kings. Southport was one of the only 5 Sacramento area schools receiving this opportunity. 6th grade student Derek Sprink was nominated and selected for Every Student Succeeding Award from the Association of California School Administrators Region 3. 2 8th grade students, Mukhtar Sani and Yelena Melnichuk, was selected anonymously for Rotary Student of the Month. River City Spring Sports are done with conditioning and are starting their season next week. Also, River City is having their annual academic assembly next Thursday to honor all the students with a GPA over 3.74, and a special honor will be given to the top 10 students of each class. And of course, next week is a big week for our seniors. Our seniors will be receiving their acceptance letters. And that is it for school reports.
Thank you. WTA, is it Linda?
Don Stoffer, WTA president, is unable to be here this evening, and I was asked to deliver the WTA update regarding negotiations. My name is Linda McMahon, a member of the negotiations team, along with our... I'm just going to go from, there is no clock. My name is Linda McMahon, and I'm a member of the negotiations team, along with our other members, Gwen Brannon, Kathy Hiramoto, Monica Reeves, Joe Schumacher, and Matt Wilkins. Unfortunately, WTA has declared impasse, which is a situation in which no progress is possible because of a deadlock. This decision was extremely difficult because we realized the potential lasting negative effects impasse has on the relationship between the association and the district. However, after careful consideration, the negotiations team and the WTA Board of Directors felt that we had no other option. This decision comes at a difficult time for both the association and the district. We as educators would rather be focusing our attention on our students and preparing for the SBAC testing than worrying about how to pay for rising healthcare costs or contemplating a job change to a higher paying district. The association is responsible for representing over 425 educators and their families. Families who have gone far too long struggling to attain economic stability and realizing they are underpaid in comparison with their colleagues in neighboring districts. This is a time that the Washington Unified School District should be focusing on the arduous task of hiring a new superintendent to lead this district rather than being concerned about negative employee relations with their entire certificated unit. At this point, you may be asking how we arrived at impasse. For the 2014-15 contract year, WTA opened the articles on evaluation, duty hours, work year, class size, along with salary and benefits. We began in earnest in September, and by mid-November, 3 of the articles had tentative agreements, which left only class size, salary, and benefits. Even though these articles can be difficult, the team remained optimistic for a mutually beneficial settlement. However, sessions began to stall by December, and it became apparent that the district had little interest in offering a competitive salary schedule when compared to neighboring districts, or even benefits comparable to our own district's classified unit. WTA continued to meet with the district in January and February to reach a settlement, taking into consideration the district's concern regarding the purported structural deficit. WTA is mindful to never negotiate for a settlement greater than the district's ability to pay or place the district in negative certification. Over the 10 sessions and over 40 hours of meetings, we offered several solutions that paid teachers a competitive salary and maintained the district's solvency. In return, we received the exact same counterproposal for the last 3 sessions, showing no movement from the district side of the table. WTA's proposals have been fair and reasonable. We will be losing quality educators, and the district will find it difficult to hire suitable replacements. In the past, we were able to attract quality candidates because the district made class size reduction a priority, while other districts struggled to meet their financial obligations. California's local control funding formula levels the playing field with neighboring districts, which are now required to have smaller class sizes and at the same time offer top salaries. This places our district at a very serious disadvantage. We are being asked to increase class sizes without a suitable increase in our salaries. This is not a time to be complacent. We are stronger when we work together, and now is the time to realize and fulfill the board's priority of recruiting, retaining, and sustaining highly qualified educators for a culture of high expectations. WTA shares this priority. However, this comes at a price. In closing, we invite you to visit the WTA website to view a PowerPoint regarding WTA's salary proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. CSEA, is Deborah here? Before we go to public comments, I'm going to read our little disclaimer here. At this time, members of the public may address the board on topics that are under the jurisdiction of the board and are not on the agenda. Although the board by law may not take action at this meeting, Education Code 3514535, the board may limit the total time for public input on any topic to 20 minutes unless it chooses to waive the item limit for a particular item. Individual speakers may be limited to 3 minutes to comment on any topic. Public comments consisting of individual charges, complaints, or derogatory remarks about any district employee are requested to be submitted in writing to the administration in accordance with the district's complaint procedure. I have a public comment from Betsy Erickson.
Good evening. My name is Betsy Erickson, and I'm the PE teacher at Elkhorn Village School. So good evening. 5 years ago, in September of 2010, Michelle Obama and the Let's Move campaign announced a challenge to get 1 million Americans to complete the Presidential Active Lifestyle Award. Between September of 2010 and September of 2011, 1.7 million Americans, including 100 students and staff at Elkhorn Village, earned the Presidential Active Lifestyle Award. So far, I've awarded approximately 400 students the Presidential Active Lifestyle Award. On March 2nd, my 4th through 8th grade students and any staff and board members that would like to join us will be starting our challenge for this year. As an adult, you would record activity of at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. You would also need to commit to one healthy eating challenge and circle it weekly on your form that I've provided. The following week, you would add a different goal and make sure you continue with the healthy eating goal from the week before. At the end of April, I'll be happy to come back and collect any completed forms. And then in June, I will present you with your certificate signed by President Barack Obama. And I have an example that my students have earned. So I hope you accept the challenge. Do you have any questions for me?
Public comment, so we can't comment. Thank you, though. I have, sorry, I can't read the last name. Is it Tammy Batchers? Derek and Lillian. Are you coming up together or one at a time?
We'll come together.
Okay. I know you asked for 8 minutes. I'm going to split the baby in half and give you 4.
Oh, 4?
Yeah, we have a full house.
She'll take her 3 and I'll take my 3.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tammy Backus. I would like to discuss my disappointments with Washington Unified School District. To give you history, I'm a parent of 3 girls in this district, a 3rd and 5th grader at Bridgeway and a 10th grader at River City, who are all high achievers. I have been an involved parent at Bridgeway. I was instrumental in getting the fence built between Bridgeway and the city, getting the shade structure built at Bridgeway, and my family has made a substantial donation of motel rooms for a field trip. I've done my part to contribute to my school environment, but now I'm very disappointed in how little the district shares in the cooperative relationship that is required to have a successful school district. There is a lack of transparency, a lack of accountability, and a complete disregard for parents. One of my problems is that our 5th grade parent portal to see individual assignments was shut down at the beginning of the last grading period in November. And now during this present grading period, parents are still not able to see anything in Illuminate while it is being piloted. During the pilot, I would think that the district would want parent feedback on this system also. I have heard through the grapevine that this is being worked on. However, the transition to Illuminate should not have occurred until parents could also use the parent portal simultaneously. Illuminate should be piloted with parents' direct involvement. My problem with this is that I signed, like all parents did, your 2014-2015 Washington Unified School District Parent Guidebook, which under the parents' rights and responsibilities states that I could follow my child's progress by having the internet-based gradebook HomeLink. In the parent guidebook, it goes on to state that HomeLink is an easy-to-use web-based tool for communication between parents and teachers. It gives parents and students online access to assignments and attendance as well as the online gradebook. It also states that we can keep track of assignments and upcoming tests. I feel that the district has failed with their end of this deal between the parents and the district. It is unreasonable to have expectations of parents when this administration shows a pattern of disregard toward parents. It is important to have a way to see their individual assignments. If any document shows the progress of my student, it should be included and shown in Home Link or Illuminate. All work needs to be included. There is never a surprise at parent-teacher conference if you are a parent who is following the complete Home Link system. The Home Link system that used to be in place for 5th grade and still is used at all other grade levels at Bridgeway and for the high school is an important tool to keep track of assignment grades, missing assignments, and to keep everyone involved, teacher, parents, and student, on the same page regarding their current status. You want me to stop?
How much more do you have there?
I would like to speak.
Can you
If
wrap
I would
it up?
like to.
Can you wrap it up in a minute? Another minute?
Probably not. I can maybe do it in 2 or 3.
But then we have,
Well, she can have my 3. That's the point.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. If he's
Okay.
giving up his 3.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. If
Okay.
I can get his 3, I'm good.
I just want to give everybody ample time.
Okay, sorry, hold on just
Sorry.
one sec.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay. It is a very important tool. Washington Unified School District always says how important parents are to their child's success, but the sincerity of that statement appears questionable. The accessibility that we once shared has been removed from us. In fact, the current changes have caused an undue burden on parents to fulfill the role of marrying the agenda, teacher planners, and assignments with grading. There is no longer the same level of transparency. To have a successful district, you need a solid involvement and relationship between the parent, student, teacher, school, and district. To quote a letter from Dayton mailed on October 17, 2014, this year we will continue to have a strong emphasis on student attendance and ongoing communication with parents. Everyone benefits when our community of parents, students, and staff is actively engaged. I do have to commend your teachers. I think Bridgeway and even many of the teachers that I have dealt with at River City are very strong. There seems to be a disconnection between the district and all other parties that needs to be remedied. I understand that there are many changes occurring with the Common Core and report card transition. However, communication to parents has not been consistent or effective. A letter from the district was never sent informing parents about the many changes that were going to happen regarding Common Core, the report card changes, and any other changes that were going to happen. This information about report cards was not even on your website, where other districts, such as Milpitas, even asked for parent feedback. Another problem that I have with the district is that I and 3 other parents tried to address these concerns with Dayton and Lynette via email. At first, it appeared that they really didn't know that we were cut off from Home Link in the beginning of November. After many emails, we requested a meeting. For some reason, it took approximately a month to schedule that meeting. I was very irritated when we received notification that we could meet. They could meet with us the following day at 2:30, which coincidentally is when we all pick up our kids from school. We finally picked a day the following week. We met on December 12th. During that meeting, we were organized with our concerns because we did not want to waste the time of anyone. We came with an agenda, a packet of information, and a list of 8 questions. Dayton mentioned that he was offended by the agenda and that he felt that our packet was presumptuous. Those were comments that were unnecessary and do not support the district's so-called desire for parent involvement. All 4 of us have many children in the district who are high achievers, and out of respect for all parties involved, it is appropriate to be prepared. Now it is February 26th, 2.5 months later, and your district representatives have not answered the questions that we requested answers for. This is very frustrating to me, and I was hoping to get your help in solving our problem. I have one more person to give me 3 minutes, and I will be done. In addition, I received an undated letter.
I'm sorry? I didn't hear.
Oh, Lilia was the 3rd person, and she's going to give me her 3 minutes.
Okay,
Is that okay? Okay.
if that's what she's wanting to do.
Yeah, I'd rather her read it.
Okay.
In addition, I received an undated letter this morning from your superintendent that expresses concern that one of my daughters has missed 6 days of school, in which she was very sick twice, 3 days each, saw her pediatrician, and I was in daily communication with Bridgeway's office. The letter goes on to say, "A priority of mine is your child's success. If my children's success is such a priority, then why haven't I received answers to questions, problems I am having? Apparently, you have a new campaign that focuses on the importance of showing up. I still have yet to see this district show up. Do you realize that when you have a sick child at home, the moment they can pick their head up, parents are sticking homework in their face for hours trying not to get behind? This attempt to not get behind includes checking in with teachers daily, all the while trying to take care of the sick child. In this letter, it also states to please contact my school office if I have any questions of how you can help me. Well, first, don't have the perfect attendance trophy. I have heard of students going to their classroom, infecting their classroom, and then going home so they still have a chance of winning the trophy. Also, sick kids should stay home, period. Did you know that supposedly there was a class at Bridgeway that had so many sick kids that there were 12 children present one day? Did you know that multiple teachers were absent numerous days due to illnesses recently? Do you know that parents were notified that the whooping cough was present at Bridgeway, and we were reassured that steps were being taken to prevent the spread of whooping cough? What were those steps? Were all staff members informed? Is someone disinfecting the desks? What other precautions are being taken? Is there board policy on this type of problem? If not, maybe one should be in place. In conclusion, you want us to show up. We have as a family. We work hard in school, attend meetings, volunteer, donate money. We communicate necessary absences even before school begins that day. We hold our kids accountable, and we are accountable to the contracts that the district requests that we sign. Now, I would like the district to show up. Not just lip service, really show up. I would like to sign forms that the district actually holds their side of the bargain to. I would like your help getting the parent portal to individual assignments that is linked to the teacher's online gradebook reopened for my 5th grader. And I would also like the 8 questions answered that were presented 2.5 months ago to your district representatives. Washington Unified wants to be a district that succeeds. Without communication, transparency, accountability, and respect, you will continue to have a district that is underperforming. The potential is there. It is up to this district to initiate the changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Board and superintendent comments? I'll call it.
Oh, thank you. Well, yesterday, we had a wonderful presentation by the FLIP program. Oh, I'm sorry. It's on. Okay, there we go. I attended a presentation of the FLIP program. FLIP program is the Fontana Leadership Institute program, and it addresses high-risk students in the Fontana School District. It is actually a comprehensive program that includes the entire community, not just the school district, but also law enforcement and different, like the judges who actually do the referrals for students who may be falling behind and at high risk of winding up in trouble with the criminal courts. It's a 16-week program where you meet for 8 hours every Saturday, and it's a very successful program. It has an 80% success rate. So this is something that I'd really like for the board to have presented to them at a future date. It was very impressive. I also attended the Yolo County Office of Education yesterday, had a presentation on AB 540 for faculty members. I noticed there were 7 members of the Washington Unified School District. AB 540 is a bill that addresses undocumented students. So what they discussed was the role of educators in 540, what educators and administrators need to know about the policy for AB 540, as well as what to share with parents. It was very informative and I think very necessary event for educators throughout the district to attend. And let's see, one more thing I was going to mention. 540, the flip program, and, gee, I guess I didn't bring the other document, but that was it.
Thank you. Board Member Villegas?
I just have a few things. I just wanted to do a shout out to two of our students, one from Bridgeway Island and one from Westmore Oaks, made the regional spelling bee top 66, I think. So I know one is Jack Hardgrove, and I apologize to the other student. I don't know their name. But hopefully we can get them to come before us and tell us how they did on the spelling bee contest. And then for all fourth grade parents, President Barack Obama has opened up the national parks. And if you have a fourth grader, you get into all national parks for a year for free. So hopefully some people can take advantage of that. And we are hosting an event for Kevin McCarty, our newest assemblyman, at it's a free event, open house, a meet and greet at the Pheasant Club this Saturday at noon. And everybody is invited to come to that too. So thank you.
Board Member Leland?
Okay, I just wanted to talk about an event. It's a fundraiser with the West Sacramento Education Foundation on March the 13th, and it's called Bowling for Kids. So I want to challenge my fellow board members, if we want to talk about it later, maybe we can be a team, and I'm a fairly good bowler, so I know I could carry my weight. But it's a great way to raise money for schools and kids in our community. So I'm excited about that. March the 13th, it's in the afternoon.
Thank you. Board Member Kirby Gonzalez?
Hi, I attended the Common Core Task Force meeting, and it was a room full of passionate educators. So I really appreciated the passion. People are excited. They want the very best PD that we can offer. And also there were some materials that were a bit over budget, and I just want to reiterate where I stand. I know it's a priority to support that, and the materials are the things going straight into the classroom, and so I would certainly support relooking at that budget and seeing how we could possibly allocate that, because that's a key priority, what the kids are doing in there. Also, we were going to get a timeline of wireless, when the wireless will be turned on at sites, and also when the devices will be rolled out. Very excited that they're here. We have a great plan. As long as the curriculum is driving the instruction, which I know it will be of that technology, we're excited. I also forgot to bring it, but I do have it, and I will turn it into Angela. We did our policy, the board adopted a policy that we would take AB 1234 ethics training. It is not necessary for school board members, but we felt that it was a priority, and so we have adopted that. I just took my training. It's a minimum standard of ethics training, but I do have that we can add to file. So now when board members are elected, they do go forward and take this. There was a great article in the Sacramento Bee about civic education, and it talks about how the state ranks 38th out of 50 in civic engagement. And it talks in here about some things that Sacramento County Office of Education is doing, and it also talks about a resolution embracing civics education that actually General Davey Jr.'s name is on here as well. So that would be something I'd like to explore in looking into our civic engagement. And let's see. Oh, Pam Guyvette and I worked together last year on the first annual Washington Unified Celebration that celebrated staff, volunteers of the year, and we also had families come out. And I'm very excited that we're having our second annual. She has worked very hard. She already has all the money raised. So couldn't ask for more than that. The band will also, the 6th through 8th band from Bridgeway will be there. And it will be on April 28th. It's $1 hot dog day. And we need to sell 260 tickets, which I'm confident we'll do. So just a great way to bring our, not just a school, but our entire district family together. And looking forward to that and thanking Pam for all of her hard work. And as a reminder, only board meeting I've missed, but I'm going to miss the board meeting next week. I'll be in DC for the Teaching and Learning Conference. I'm confident you'll have a, not next week, next board meeting I'll be missing. I'm a little tired.
Thank you. And I know you'll probably be shocked, but I don't have a lot to report for once. But I do want to give a shout out to the River City High School varsity boys basketball team. They did win their first playoff game, and I believe they're going this Friday again, so I want to give a shout out to them. And I always have to give a shout out to the freshman basketball team. They finished their season 11-1. So also soccer season's coming up, so I know soccer's becoming big in Sacramento, so come out and watch our lady soccer team. They're pretty good. And again, I want to take the time to thank Katie and Oscar Villegas for the $100 donation to the River City Athletic Boosters. We do a half-court basketball shot, and the kids or the participant can win $50. And unfortunately, nobody won this year, but there's always next year. And I just want to remind everybody, too, the River City Athletic Booster Club is hosting a fundraiser. It's a fish and chips dinner at the VFW Hall on April 17th. And tickets are $20 and going fast. So go on the website or contact one of the booster members. And Dr. Gillian, did you have anything?
I do, thank you. I'll be brief. I do want to announce that, and fitting, I think, with our information discussion item regarding the longitudinal study for our preschool program, we're partners with Up for West Sac, of course, and the Harder and Company community research firm is here to speak about this study. We've been doing it a couple of years. We're very excited about the results and anxious to hear. But fittingly tonight, I'm pleased to introduce to you Gail Sweda, our new coordinator for our early education child education program. Is Gail here? There she is. Hi, Gail. Come on forward. Gail is a longtime educator, a special ed instructor with a passion for early childhood development. She comes to us from Mount Diablo Unified, where she was a program manager for 26 schools in that district. She's here with her husband, Rich, and want to welcome you to our district. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, I'm really happy to be here at Washington Unified School District, and I'm very honored to be the coordinator for early childhood education. I believe that today defines tomorrow, and I thank you for having the confidence in me to coordinate the important work with the preschools and transition kindergartens. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome. Item M, information and discussion items. Item number 1, the preschool longitudinal study presentation.
Good evening. I'm Justine Jimenez, and this is Christy Kumjan from Harder and Company. I'm the Director of Early Learning Services for the City of West Sacramento, and as such, I oversee the Up for West Sac program, which has been in, we have had this program in our city for about 12 years now, from inception, from planning. And we've been in partnership with Washington Unified this entire time. The majority of children that are served in Upper West Sac are Washington Unified state preschool children. You represent the largest number of children served in the program. And there's some information here about what types, how many slots of different types of program. As you can see, the state preschool is right at the top. Upper West Sac has done a tremendous amount with Washington Unified in terms of improving the quality of early education and care in the community, and we're really proud of the program and really proud of our partnership with Washington Unified. Christy's just going to show you some of the statistics and some of the data that we've been able to gather over the last couple of years in our kindergarten study. So I'm going to let Christy take it away.
Good evening. I'm Christy Kumjan. I'm with Harder and Company Community Research, and Harder and Company has been working with the City of West Sacramento since July of 2012 to design and implement an evaluation of the Up for West Sac program. So I'm here tonight to present just briefly some of the key findings from our study that we thought would be the most relevant for your board. You have in front of you the full presentation as well as the full report that has much more detail than what I'm going to go over today. I first just wanted to acknowledge the tremendous work of the Washington Unified School District administrators, including Dayton and Bill, and all of the teachers who were involved in this study. They really, truly contributed to the success of this study. So related to what Justine said when she talked about some of the goals of the Up for West Sac program, When we met with her, we learned about those goals, and we developed 3 questions to guide our evaluation. And we, for the purposes of this evening's presentation, are going to focus on that last evaluation question related to child development. And really trying to explore, do children attending an Up for West Sac program demonstrate improved school readiness skills? And also, how do they compare to a group of children who did not attend an Up for West Sac program? This is a copy of our evaluation design. So you can see here that we're following a group of children who participated in an Up for West Sac program in 2012-13. So we had 191 children in this cohort or in this group, and we followed them through kindergarten and to the first grade and potentially beyond first grade as well. And then we also have a comparison group. This is a group of children who did not participate in an Up for West Sac preschool program. And the red arrow on this slide indicates that these children were in a Washington Unified School District kindergarten classroom in 13-14. Then that's the focus of the presentation and the data for this evening. So we take a look at the key characteristics of our study participants. This was data that we collected from the Washington Unified School District. And again, this is children who, when they were in kindergarten, and shows the percent of children amongst the Up for West Sac group and the comparison group related to limited English proficiency, so the percent of children who are English language learners, as well as the percentage of children in each of these groups who qualified for free reduced price meals. And what we wanted to highlight here is that you can see that our Up for West Sac group has a significantly higher proportion of families with limited English proficiency, and also a significantly higher proportion of families who qualify for free reduced price meals, which is kind of our proxy indicator for poverty. So moving on to child development. So we worked closely with all of the kindergarten teachers to collect a kindergarten assessment in the fall of 2013. And I wanted to point out, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, the success was really with the kindergarten teachers. We had a response rate of 96% across our both groups, meaning that 96% of the kindergarten assessment tools that we mailed out, we got back in, which is extraordinarily high in the evaluation work that we do, and especially working with teachers and schools, and we know how much paperwork they have and how busy they are. The assessment tool that we used had questions related to cognitive skills, social emotional skills, behavior skills, and we also had a question related to how easy or difficult the child's transition was to kindergarten. And when we analyzed the data from this assessment, what we found is that there was no significant difference between the Up for West Sac group, so kids who participated in the Up for West Sac program, compared to a group of children who did not participate in an Up for West Sac program. And the reason why it's important to think about the characteristics of the children in the study and this particular finding is really this is one of our key findings is that despite the significant differences in the socioeconomic characteristics, that our Up for West Sac children were just as ready for kindergarten as their peers in the comparison group. We wanted to know a little bit more about this group. So what we did is we took our Up for West Sac kids and we pulled out a subset of our comparison group kids who also had high needs. And we explored the differences between those two groups. And what we found is that the children in the Up for West Sac group actually performed significantly better than their peers in the comparison group in an area related to emergent literacy. So our key finding related to this is that our Up for West Sac may be helping to mitigate existing risk factors, so those socioeconomic characteristics, and increasing the likelihood that Up for West Sac children are as ready for kindergarten as their peers in the area of emergent literacy. We know literacy is such a key indicator for school readiness and school success. Just briefly, evaluation next steps. So a cohort 1, which is the group that we just presented on, they're currently in the first grade, so we're working with Washington Unified to gather some additional data on this group. And then we also began following another group, our cohort 2. They were in Up for West Sac in 13-14, so they're currently in kindergarten. So last fall, we worked with all the kindergarten teachers to do the same process again, and we'll be following them over time. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, comments from the board?
I do. Sorry. I just want to say thanks for all of your hard work. Harder & Company has done a great job of truly evaluating the work that for West Sac has done. And Justine, thank you for your dedication and hard work. And it's a great partnership. It's First Five, the city, and the school district. And I think it's wonderful that it's still going. And I hope it continues to go for a long time.
Thank you very much.
I'll just echo certainly what Katie said about just the importance of the partnership. I feel like I'm the lucky one on the board right now. I get to come to the meetings and participate again, and really kind of saw the Up for West Sac program in its very beginning stages 11 years ago, and was on the committee at that time. And so just seeing the tracking, the evaluation, the comparisons is just is really exciting to me as I'm nearing my 11th year as a board member, to see a program that really has thrived and is just doing so many good things for all of our preschoolers here in West Sacramento. I think we can learn from it.
Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you for your leadership, Justine. We really appreciate it.
I just have one question. Do we have a waiting list of children for preschool?
Do we have a waiting list on our state preschool? For state preschool?
For West Sac?
For West Sacramento? I'm not aware that we have a waiting list at this time, no. I think that there have been, we have filled our spaces, and Gail would probably know better than I would at this point, but I don't think have a waiting list for spaces at this time for state preschool.
Sarah Kirby-Gonzalez.
Hi, thank you. I've seen this presentation before, and it just, once upon a time, I worked in a preschool, and I have to give so much credit to early childhood educators who I think sometimes get the least amount of recognition, the least amount of pay, and do such good, important, hard work. And so thank you for highlighting that. I love what they do. It's all developmentally appropriate with play, and it's just magical. So I would ask for, one, I'm wondering if there has been a commissioner. I know they were looking for a community commissioner. And has that been chosen?
No, I actually checked on this yesterday to find out, because I knew I would be here, and there still has not been a person chosen. And from what I understand, it's partly because all the commissioners for the city were all being chosen, and there was a change in the structure and the term that they were serving. So there's just been a lot of change, and everything hasn't sorted out yet. So that person has not been appointed. We're eagerly awaiting the appointment.
Okay, good. And then just maybe this is for Gail out there too, that hopefully we can work together. I know we get so many people. We don't have a waiting list, but I know that you have over at Learning Ladder, correct?
Yeah, and some of the other programs in the community do as well. And I think partly what you're looking at is eligibility and also need, and there are people that just don't quite fit, they don't quite have the low enough income to be able to fit into that. And so if there was just something, a qualifying event, or I don't know, there may be some other things that we can look at in terms of trying to work together to fill all those, spaces, yeah.
And I know there were some hurdles. We talked about that, a sliding scale. I've had so many single parents reach out to me. I personally would not be able to put my two girls in private preschool that I do right now if I was on a single income. And I have a lot of people that reach out to me like that. It's more than a mortgage. So I just hope that we can find a way as a district. We have a great program. And if we can help alleviate your wait list by having a sliding scale and just continue to look at the barriers and keep that conversation open.
I'm very, very interested in doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And thank you, Gail.
I just wanted to clarify, we do have a waiting list in some of our classes.
we
Some of
do?
the ages, yes, we do.
Do you know where?
I don't, offhand, I don't.
Okay.
But I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I have had parents asking me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Information item number 2, revision of administrative regulation 5116.1, paren 1.3, overflow procedures.
Good evening, President Cruz, member of the board, members of the board, Dr. Gilliland. We bring to you tonight as not an action item, but really an information discussion to gain your input and direction on this. A kind of revised, am I echoing? To look at a revised Administrative Regulation 5116. And you'll probably recall from September and October that we had brought forward some new board policy language regarding overflow procedures, and that we shared with you the administrative regulation at that time, and we made some changes, mostly to deal with the fact that people who were overflowed typically, if it was a long-term overflow, they'd be overflowed as a cohort a year at a time, and then we would go deeper into the people who came in at an earlier time, and then deeper and deeper. So basically what ended up happening was we restructured the process so that overflow would really only occur for the last in. The people who were last in were kind of the first out. And so once you took a seat in a school that was impacted, that was the seat you had and stayed in for the life of your time in the school. I think everyone's aware that we have some situations that where we see long lines on registration date and registration day, particularly overnight lines. And that's created some issues, I think, for us, and we're really concerned about campus safety. Even when kids aren't there, the campuses be safe. So what we're offering is some language that basically just changes one paragraph in that administrative regulation, and it reads, we actually had some language like this previously, and it was taken out for the new policy. We're kind of putting it back in. And that says, in cases where on a particular date, student enrollment exceeds space available in a particular grade in a neighborhood school, or where it is anticipated that student enrollment could exceed space available in a particular grade in a neighborhood school, a lottery will be used to determine the order of enrollment. What that's really designed to do, and it's kind of, it gives us the ability to use a lottery. It doesn't necessarily mean that we would, but it gives us the ability to use the lottery in a situation like that to make that known. And what we believe that will do will be to kind of disincentivize the staying overnight, that people know that they can come to our regular registration hours on the Saturday that we usually hold, usually the third Saturday of February. Be there during our regular hours, 9 to 12, and register their children and not feel compelled to camp out. So that's primarily what we're looking to do. Are there any questions?
I actually have 2 public comments.
Okay.
Laura Jamison.
Good evening. My name is Laura Jamison. We have lived in the Bridgeway Island community for over 11 years. Our older son is in first grade at Bridgeway Island, and this past weekend we camped out to enroll our younger son in kindergarten. I'm here to speak to the proposed revisions to the overflow policy in regard to the lottery system. I agree that a lottery system is an improvement, but there are drawbacks that should be considered before its implementation. Number 1, a lottery system should account for siblings that are already in the school. Number 2, under a lottery system, a Bridgeway Island resident within walking distance to the school could get overflowed, whereas a Bridgeway Lakes resident farther from the school would not be overflowed. So I think any lottery system should take into account proximity to the home school and the overflow school, as well as safe walking and biking routes. My third concern is for parents or for families that have either 2 working parents or a single parent. If before school care was not available, afternoon kindergarten would create a significant burden to families with 2 full-time working parents. There are limited daycare facilities in the city that will provide morning care. And in addition, there's the additional financial strain that morning care can place on a family. For our family with 2 working parents, if we had afternoon kindergarten and could not get morning care, my husband and I, we cannot go to part-time. And I think one of our solutions would be for one of us to either quit our jobs or for me to flex my hours and miss dinner time and bedtime, which neither one of us want to have either of those options happen. So that's why we camped out this weekend. We needed morning kindergarten. And just to complain, I think one of our frustrations of this, the symptom of the lottery is because there is no school at Bridgeway Lakes. If Bridgeway Lakes school went in, we wouldn't have this issue. Bridgeway Island could then have extended day kindergarten. So I think the lottery, it's an improvement. We didn't want to camp out, but we were willing to camp out to ensure a morning kindergarten slot for our family. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Tammy, I'm going to butcher your last name again. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with her. I have waited in line twice, and the importance of having one child at Bridgeway, I didn't want to be overflowed to another school, so that's why I stood in line. The third time, I had to send Bible study friends because my mom had passed away, but I still had to do kindergarten registration. So I then appeared and then signed the forms right at the end. So I agree with the previous lady that it's important. I think priority should be given if you have a student at the school and you live in the neighborhood, and then the rest of the people have a lottery. But I don't know if I agree with a certain date to come and enroll. I was talking to a friend, and one of their schools, you can turn in your packet. You say if your child is coming back, you check the box, then you fill in the packet for the sibling, turn it in. It's not a specific date where somebody has to be there only on that date, and then your staff will have extra days to finish the packets as it goes. So I think that would be important to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion, comments with the board? Ms. Kirby Gonzalez?
Yes, I have some. I had late night phone calls with people in a panic about, you told me I didn't need to camp out. There's people that are lining up at noon, and I'm afraid, and I understand that this, it tugs on your heartstrings, even if you're told that we've had people get in. It's sort of an unknown. We don't know how many kids will sign up. So here's a question, a couple things. One, I think sibling priority absolutely makes sense. And I personally would like to see it in this policy. Two, just to reiterate, would we have needed to use the lottery system this year?
The short answer to that is no. We wouldn't have needed to use the lottery system this year. And we ran some numbers in the previous 2 years. In 2013, when we did our registration, we had 107 students on the first day, which would not have needed a lottery system. On 2014, we had 101 students, and then this year we had 104. The language does allow, though, for anticipated lottery. So there's some umbrella language here that gives us a little bit of flexibility. It would allow for, with that anticipated, that language of anticipated, to be able to really kind of say that there would be a lottery, to declare a lottery, or to be able to have that lottery take place if we exceed that number during that day, but to be prepared for that. I believe in either scenario that would take away the incentive of kind of the camping out.
Thank you. So this is really a backup plan if we have more students than anticipated. And Mr. Landsberger, can you speak to the master plan? Because I know there are schools slated, and my understanding was that that Bridgeway Lakes alone would not account for a new school. So can you speak to what would need to happen for a new school to go in that area?
Well, I don't have the master plan completely embedded in my brain, but I believe the neighborhood that goes in below the Bridgeway Island, Bridgeway Lakes area is Yarborough. And that would have to start to build out before you would have a student population that would warrant having a second school in that area. We realize that Bridgeway Island is hitting a level of capacity, which is why 3 additional classrooms are being added to that campus this summer. But as it stands by itself, just with that particular demographic, it doesn't have the population for 2 schools. So you'd have to have the Yarborough community build out.
Thank you. I think people needed to hear that. And the other piece, as we know, is the AM/PM piece, which is I know it's site-specific. And so just maybe to speak, if Mr. Spalding, you could speak to the conversations that you've had regarding morning care possibilities, and that would be good.
Yes, we've reached out to the YMCA, who provides the service there in the afternoon, and we did a survey actually on registration day, both there and at Southport are the 2 sites where we have these programs in existence. They have demonstrated a willingness and an interest in possibly doing this. I think our issues would be, of course, cost and who would, how that would work for people, and facilities. Probably more able to do that at Southport because there's a dedicated room for YMCA than Bridgeway, but we wanted to kind of see what the enrollment would look like at Bridgeway and kind of get that information. So we're evaluating that information now, looking at the numbers and seeing how that all shakes out, but definitely looking at, that potential. One of the speakers tonight talked about that a little bit and that concern as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to reiterate that it connects to the modular building that we approved a couple of months ago. And I wanted just a comment made by you, Scott, on how this might relieve or affect the overflow issues. Because I know we'll add 4 classrooms. There was already 1 classroom there. And so that would be approximately 96 students that would be accounted for in the new modular that's going on the Bridgeway Island campus. So I just wanted parents to hear that. Is that correct? And will that have some effect on issues with overflow or maximum?
I think ultimately it does. The challenge that you have is it's the grade level configurations and having to go through then in between the school years and what this year might be a 2nd grade classroom, next year is going to be a 3rd grade classroom because you have a bubble in the population. You don't have, I believe it's 110 students or so in 3rd grade. You don't have that at every grade level. So as the bubble moves through, we're modifying, or the campus is following that bubble, but the overall capacity of the school gets increased by 96 students, and that should help balance and alleviate some of the challenges we've had.
Okay, I just think that's what folks needed to hear initially. So it does help.
Yeah. I just want to say I think it's really important also. We have a growing infrastructure. We see all the new apartments and everything going up over there, new families moving into the area. So I think it's really important that collaborations between the city and the school district, take place. I think it's really important.
Can I add to that conversation? I believe that the school district does a demographic study, and that's something that's in the works that we might be seeing a report.
We'll see that in 2 weeks.
At some time?
Yep, it's coming out in 2 weeks.
Right, okay, 2 weeks. So I thought that will answer a lot of that question.
And I'm glad we're visiting this because we all know that it was a big problem last year and we took it serious. And but for the parents and the community coming forward and working with us, I do have a question, and maybe I missed it on here, Bill, but if we had to go to a lottery, at what point would the parents be notified of a possible lottery?
I think we would have to kind of look at the situation, but I think what we anticipated is we'd be putting something out probably online ahead of time, or just talking about the fact that a lottery could take place and really prepare for that. So for example, where you have some of the previous years where we do get to 101, and that's really below capacity, I think we could prepare as though we were going forward with the lottery, let everyone know that that is definitely a possibility, have all these pieces in place. But if we get to the point that at the end of that registration morning on that single day, we don't really need to do that, then we wouldn't necessarily have to do that. So the policy is written in a way that really kind of gives a little bit of flexibility. And I also want to point out that I don't want to say policy, it's really administrative regulation. Administrative regulation is also written in a way that really anticipates where this might occur anywhere. I have some folks in my office who are longtime moms in this district, and they talk about the days when Westmore Oaks used to have camping out. So this is really trying to, just going forward, to really have a policy procedure in place that just prevents that need that people feel to have to camp out.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions, comments? Thank you. We are to action items. N, number 1, consideration of Lighthouse charter approval. And so we're not in violation of Brown Act. We are going to change it up just a little bit. We'll hear the public comments, but we're going to have a few board members talk first, and then we'll put the other public comments in between. And bear with me because my voice is going, but I do want to share some comments of my own. First, I want to thank the parents for the communications received both for and against the charter school. As elected officials, it's our duty to listen to our community, and I urge all the parents to continue to be involved in their child's education, whether it's in our public schools or in one of our charter schools. Secondly, I would like to quickly run through the history of the Lighthouse Charter petition as presented to our district in 2013. And these are just approximate and estimates. I probably have missed some things in between, but I wanted to give everybody the short history here. In September of 2013, the petition was presented to the district, and in November of 2013, the district's recommendation to the board was to reject the petition due to 3 findings. One, the school presented an unsound education program for the pupils, and the petitioners were demonstrably unlikely to successfully implement the program, and the petition did not contain reasonably comprehensive descriptions of all the 16 required elements. The board at that time conditionally approved the petition with a 3-2 vote, and in December of 2013, the conditional list was provided to the Lighthouse Charter with condition A, B, D, F, G, and J, and N, which included their educational program, measurable pupil outcome, governance structure, health and safety, racial and ethnic balance, suspension and expulsion, dispute resolution, financial plan, and facility plan. At that time, the charter was willing to address the matters in February or March of 2014. The district did not hear back anything until May of 2014, at which time the district had contacted Lighthouse Charter. Shortly after, the district received a response from the Lighthouse Charter in regards to land transaction delay. And in August of 2014, mail blasts began coming out from founding members stating that the petition had been approved. And in August of 2014, again, Washington Unified began the communication as we had began to see enrollment signs, and we reminded Lighthouse Charter that the conditions had not been yet satisfied. And in September of 2014, in response, the district was advised that the city had approved a reduction in class size. And in October of 2014, Washington Unified finally received revised documents in regards to the conditional approval of charter school, which was 7 months later. In November of 2014, Washington Unified sent a letter to CDE advising them of the conditional approval. And in December 2014, I personally received my first invite to talk to the Lighthouse Charter. The next day, I had requested to place the item on our board agenda for discussion on January 8th of 2015 this year. And the charter, meanwhile, and the reason I put that on is the charter had kind of backed us, I felt, into a corner because they were holding a lottery, and the conditions and approval still had not been addressed. And so on January 8th, board meeting, members of the community, which we had various, I allowed them to speak even over our time limit. And I just want to let you know, as a board here, we can only discuss these items at a public meeting. We cannot discuss them anywhere else. So this was not a stall tactic, as some have claimed that the board or a board member was dragging their feet. We take each charter petition very serious, and there is voluminous paperwork, education codes, and laws. It was at the January board meeting, the board removed the item from the agenda to work with the attorneys from both sides to assure all parties involved obtain the correct information. On January 16th, Washington Unified School District issued a public notice, and in January 27th, there was a response from Lighthouse Charter. On February 6th, myself and Vice President Kirby Gonzalez, Superintendent Gillian, we met with board members and Superintendent Lewis of the Lighthouse Charter. And on February 12th, the board meeting, there were public comments, although the item was not on the agenda, and the district and the attorneys continued with conversations. On February 19th and February 25th, I personally received emails quite demanding and authoritative from Lighthouse Charter. And so here we are today, in which I will guarantee all of you a decision will be made this evening. One thing that holds hard to my heart is partnership. And what is a partnership? I looked up the definition, and there was various definitions. It's a noun, and it's the state of being a partner, a type of organization in which multiple individuals manage and work together. And if you look up in Wikipedia, an arrangement where parties known as partners agree to cooperate to advance their mutual interest. Washington Unified School District currently has great partners with 2 charter schools, West Sac Charter and the Sikh Charter. And despite what other organizations think of this board, we are not rude, we are thorough, and we are willing to work with partners that have a willingness to work with us. For me personally, politics do not play a role in any of my decisions. I was elected by my community to be their voice to help every child in West Sacramento access to quality education. So the Washington Unified School District has organized consideration of approval of the Lighthouse Charter this evening. As you can see, I am one of 5 board members with a single vote. Every board member, including me, votes as she deems right and appropriate in the best interest of the district. That being said, I am aware of certain proposed assurances from the Lighthouse regarding charter operations and reviews which go beyond the terms of previously submitted to the board. I continue to have significant concerns regarding the education viability of the Lighthouse Charter. Such assurances help in allowing certain important district interests to be addressed. Nevertheless, given additional Lighthouse assurances regarding its operations, I do not intend to or will not withhold my approval of the charter. If by majority vote the board approves the Lighthouse Charter, I intend to see that all charter provisions and assurances are carried out, both the letter and the spirit. Whether the charter petition is approved tonight with the assurances or denied, I would like to thank council on both sides and the staff and the community for the hours and work of dedication to this matter. And finally, may the record reflect that Washington Unified School District is not rude, and we have a great willingness to work with all partners. And with that, I will turn it over to Board Member Ayala.
Alcala.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Ayala.
When the initial petition came in, I was not a board member. I referred back to the district's, recommendation in order to make my decision. The document dated November 14th, 2013, and in salient part, I just want to read this. I'm sorry. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. The charter school presents an unsound educational program for pupils to be enrolled in the charter school. The petitioners are demonstrably unlikely to successfully implement the program set forth in the petition. The petition does not contain reasonably comprehensive descriptions of all 16 required elements. When I became a school board member, my charge was to use the best judgment I could to make certain that the children in West Sacramento would receive the best education they could, and I'm not willing to gamble that on a flawed charter. I respect the opinions of all my board members. As I said, I did not initially have an opportunity to sit in on the initial discussions, but I have done a lot of homework since then. So
That's it.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and go to public comments now. If something you've heard up here and you decided to waive your public comment, just please say pass. But first I have Steve Lewis.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board. I want to thank you once again for an opportunity to address all of you in regards to our Lighthouse Charter School. My name is Steve Lewis. I am the superintendent of River Charter Schools, which will be doing business as Lighthouse Charter. And I want to thank this board for their continued efforts to engage us in the conversations around having a collaborative relationship. Ms. Cruz, especially want to thank you for your openness to communicate with me, and I look forward to our collaboration and your involvement as we work together for the children and families of West Sacramento. The West Sacramento community has been extremely supportive, and I want to thank all the individuals, many of those who are in this room right now and behind me. They have shown their desire for our charter option, and I appreciate their support. Their personal stories have been powerful and motivate me to make establishing a great new school in West Sacramento a top priority. To those ends, I'm taking the steps necessary to open on time in August. I've been recruiting a great staff, and I look forward to introducing them to you soon. We're designing the layout of our classrooms where the magic of teaching and learning will take place. I'm working with our entire team and look forward to working collaboratively with all of you. I'm excited to be a part of this remarkable opportunity to assure the quality of education in West Sacramento. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Kaur.
Good evening, board members and superintendent. Thank you for the time to speak. My name is Lisa Kaur with Young, Minnie, and Kaur. This has been a long road, and I wanted to express Lighthouse's appreciation for the district board and to the Lighthouse supporters that have been here this whole time. And regardless of whether we agree or disagree, the time and energy on all sides, which is dedicated to students, is commendable. Lighthouse, as you know, has believed for over a year that its charter was lawfully approved. Of course, whether we agree or we disagree on that point, that conditions to approval are lawful or they're not lawful, it is most important that Lighthouse has always acknowledged the concerns of the district and believed that they resolve them. Through Lighthouse's submission of 3 separate packages of information, and President Cruz, I hope that you will ask the superintendent as to the submission dates of responses, because you were right about the December meeting, December of 2013, where the conditions were presented. And actually, if you see, you can't see this package of information, this binder of information, but there was a submission of information January 7th, 2014, so a month later, January 31st, 2014. And then an update was given October 30th, 2014. And so in the facts that you gave, I was concerned that you didn't know that there was a huge amount of information that was given a month after that December meeting. And it's possible that you weren't aware of it. And I just want to make sure that you were, and that the district's concerns were not being ignored. So I really wanted you to be aware of that. We respectfully ask the board tonight to find that the charter is approved without conditions. We ask that the district sign all forms that are necessary for the school's CDS code, their charter number, and the public charter school grant program funding. We appreciated the opportunity to work with your legal counsel and to develop assurances, and the Lighthouse will stand by those assurances and collaborate with the district to make you proud of the school that it will become for its students. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Kirsten Yates.
Hi. First of all, I wanted to thank the board members for your time. I was here 2 weeks ago to talk to you and share my story about my family and my daughters. And thank you also for your time tonight and for committing to making a decision on Lighthouse Charter School. And I wanted to say that I am here in support of the charter school. I have a daughter, but I'll backtrack really quickly. But I am not also, just because I am pro-charter does not mean I'm here to say anything negative about the school district or about the public schools. I'm very excited about Lighthouse Charter, and I'm very excited about the placement option, especially for my daughter who's going to be attending transitional kindergarten next year. My older daughter right now has an IEP placement at Bridgeway Island, and she is doing fantastically. And my younger daughter has visited the school and remembers the teacher from meeting her just once and is incredibly excited, is asking, you know, where am I? Am I going to the same school? Am I going to Riley's school? And is asking every day about, you know, am I going, where is it going to happen? And I don't have answers for her. So tonight will be a first step in getting towards that. And I would really like to have the option of having both of my children perhaps attend the same school if that's a possibility for my older daughter, if she can succeed there. So this is really important for us to have that choice, that empowerment, and I think it'll be a big improvement for our school district and community. So thank you.
Thank you. Dawn Pedersen.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dawn Peterson. My husband and I live in West Sacramento, and our 4-year-old son Theodore is headed into kindergarten this year. The thought of this has caused us a good deal of concern over the past couple of years. We know very little about our neighborhood schools, and my attempts to arrange a tour of our local school via email have been ignored. We want to know if our son will still get all the physical activity that he craves, the playtime that is appropriate for his age, and the arts and music that are vital for his growing mind. We want a learning environment which sees him as an individual. Our son is an individual who craves social interaction and dancing and games. This is how he learns at his age. We are not encouraged when we hear our neighbors talk about camping overnight to register for kindergarten, about splitting up siblings when a school is too full, and about their bright children growing bored from the lifeless routine of their kindergarten classrooms. We were so excited to learn about Lighthouse Charter School near the end of last year. As it will be modeled upon Delta Charter, we are confident that Theodore will have the kind of kindergarten experience we want for him. I have toured Delta Charter. I have learned a great deal about how Lighthouse will provide a robust education that values art, music, movement, and project-based learning. Theo has already been accepted into Lighthouse through the lottery. West Sacramento parents need this option to select a school with a fresh educational philosophy, one of meeting the needs of each child easily, because this value is built into its flexible approach to curriculum within the state standards. My husband and I want this option. We urge the members of the board to help Lighthouse Charter open this August as planned. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie Setzer-Flager.
Hello, members of the board. My 4-year-old son, TJ, used to hit other children all the time, never in anger, but whenever he was overwhelmed, like when it was too loud, when there's too many other kids. So I took him to Kaiser, a child psychologist, and talking to other friends, I thought maybe it could be sensory processing disorder. And the child psychologist that we saw said that 99 times out of 100, it's not sensory processing disorder, it's a behavioral situation. But meeting with TJ, he said he seemed to be that 1 out of 100, where he was running cars on his face and rubbing the couch and smelling his hands and doing donkey kicks whenever he was confused or unsure. Unfortunately, Kaiser does not recognize sensory processing disorder as an actual disorder. So he recommended that we go to the school district and have an assessment. His preschool teacher recommended the same, and so that's what we did. We had him assessed through Washington Unified School District, and he went through and did the one-on-one testing with each person, and he's really bright, and he passed with flying colors. Like my 4-year-old can read. You know, he knows that a dodecagon is a 20-sided shape. But his issue isn't so much with the knowledge, it's the social situations. It surfaces when there's a lot of people around or, cleanup time. So he didn't qualify for an IEP, so no individual education problem. My concern about putting him through the neighborhood school is that they'll require that IEP in order to really help him with his problems. I don't want him to get lost in the shuffle and be labeled as a problem child. He's not. He's great. But Lighthouse has promised to meet each child where they are. And I think they'll be able to focus on his individual needs. I'll be able to work with the teacher one-on-one that way. With the project-based learning, that's small groups where he'd be able to actually thrive and learn with a small group of kids. These are things that I'm really excited about, and hearing about them, I just think that would be a wonderful fit for TJ, especially since at this time I can't get any help with the district. I just want to give him his best chance. Thank you.
Shannon Kern.
Oh, members of the school board. First, it's kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. The 104 that enrolled at Bridgeway, did that include the district employees that had priority registration? Oh, you can't?
No.
Okay. I'm a resident of West Sacramento and a father of 2 children, one of whom is about to begin kindergarten. On February 20th, I contacted Bridgeway Elementary School to inquire about kindergarten registration. I was told by a school official that a line has already begun forming for a 9 o'clock registration the following day, and I should be prepared to spend the night if I wanted my child to attend. By the time I arrived at 4 p.m. on Friday afternoon, I was already number 18. By 8 p.m., the number of families waiting grew by my estimations close to 40. Throughout the night, the one question repeated by everyone was, why are we having to camp out at a public elementary school in our neighborhood so our children can attend kindergarten here? By midnight, the chaos of uncertainty, fueled with alcohol, led to an altercation on school property. The police were called, the chaos stopped, but the uncertainty continues to this day. This is a supply and demand problem. The demand for great schools is here, but the supply is limited. Please support Lighthouse. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter Stone.
I'm Peter Stone, the Chief Business Officer of Delta Elementary Charter and River Charter Schools. And I'd like to thank you, President Cruz, and fellow board members for this opportunity to speak. The focus of much discussion over the last year and a quarter has been around the conditions required to be met by Lighthouse. And I just thought I'd clarify just a couple of things. December 5th, we met with, as you mentioned, Lighthouse and Washington Unified teams met to clarify the conditions that Washington Unified had set for us. On January 17th, we sent over the first group of responses and changes to meet various conditions. On January 31st, we sent over the second group of responses and changes to meet the rest of the conditions, except for the financial and the facility conditions. These could not be met at that time due to not having the land donation to the school resolved. And we also contended that they should be conditions of opening the school. So there was a long period of time when we were working with the developer to try and get that land donated. And it wasn't until September 15th that we found out that the land had toxics on it. So in my October 30, 2014 communication, just a month and a half after that revelation, to the superintendent and to the board, I provided the info to meet the financial conditions and most recently have signed leases on the school facility which meets the facility's conditions. So I just really want to reiterate that Lighthouse Charter School is committed to open communications and collaboration with the Washington Unified School District. And as we move forward to the benefit of both the families and the children in West Sacramento by opening Lighthouse this fall. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Is it Jim Lockhart? Thank you. Carol Bauer? I'm sorry, Carl.
I will pass, thank you.
Thank you. Dominic DeMar. I know, I always say that wrong.
Madam President, board members, superintendent, my name is Dominic DeMar, and I'm a board member of the Delta Elementary Charter School, now Lighthouse Charter as well. Mr. Lockhart has wasted his 3 minutes because I plan to be less than 2. I want to thank you for the time that you guys have taken on this issue. I want to thank you for the cooperation and the partnership that we are forging together. And I want to assure you that I stand behind the assurances that we have provided you and that I will work tirelessly to make sure that this school is a success and that you will not regret approving this charter. And once again, thank you for the time that you folks have put into this, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you into the future.
Thank you. And Darren Hall.
Good evening, President Cruz and fellow board members and superintendent. I am Darren Hall. I am the current president of the Rivers Charter Schools. And as my colleague, Mr. DeMar, just spoke, I want to assure you that we, all of us, including all of you, have the same goal in mind, and that's to service children. We are committed to partnering with you. You said something a little while ago, and you said our charter schools. You're right. It is our charter schools. As West Sacramento residents, it's all of our schools. You represent us, and we hope to represent and help represent some of the other families through our school. I'm here, just like you're here. We don't make money by doing this. We do it because we believe in something. And I believe that between our partnership and our commitment for the kids and all the parents that have come out here, we have staff from our other school that are here who don't need to be here, who won't be working in this school, but they're committed to showing you that we are here and we will sit down. And as I said last time, we will communicate, and we'll become close, maybe not friends, I hope to someday, but we'll become at least colleagues for the betterment of all West Sacramento children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Kirby Gonzalez.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to speak to the families here. I have all your emails highlighted, gone through, and I take what you say, we all take what you say very seriously and are listening. And clearly, there are some places to do better. There are also some misinformation, too, when I read through these. But one piece of it is when I read about bullying, special education, I'm reading about it only in the context of wanting a charter school and never an email of how can we work together. And so I just want to share that for everybody out there and for anybody listening, that we are here to work together before it gets to this place too. And if there are any kids in this district, Mrs. Cruz has said it before, we don't feel like I don't feel like I have 2 kids anymore. I feel like I have 7,500. This is about them. And to read some of these letters and some of these feelings is upsetting. And it shouldn't happen. And we should work together so that it doesn't. So that is one piece. of it, and I appreciate you coming here tonight, and you are heard. To give some background, this is a legally binding document. So the petition that comes to us is what is legally binding, that we have an obligation to make sure that it is good for kids. And when I first came on the board, I was so excited. I heard there was a group of people who wanted something maybe a little bit different. And I don't believe the gentleman's here tonight, but he's the one that took credit for creating this in his public comments. And I reached out to him and I said, let's work together. There's parents that want to work together. Let's do it. A magnet program. What can we do? We believe in choice too. Choice is a powerful word, and a district is not necessarily a status quo. And you need to know that and understand that piece of it. How can we work together? And I was promptly blown off. Called the district. Let's reach out. There's a group of parents. Promptly blown off. This was May 2013. And so I share that with you so that you know that we are not people here that are not willing to work with people who don't want to step out of the box and try something new. It's important you know that, because I walk into a room and people don't like me and they don't know me because of what they've heard from some of the individuals in this room. And I want you to know that. One piece, too, that I want to share here. First, I should comment that I'm happy with the insurances. So thank you for that. But one piece I want to share, because I hear it over and over again, I just want to make sure that everybody in here is on the same page. When it talks about serving kids, the petitioners for the charter seek to capitalize on the unique student population of students and families currently residing in the Rivers Housing Development in West Sacramento and the surrounding community of Broderick. And so we have heard many times tonight, Bridgeway Islands, there are certainly issues that we need to work on. But I want to reiterate that the petition is talking about serving families in Broderick. Of course, we want to serve kids everywhere, but I want people to understand that. Also within the goals, one of the first ones is tackling the socioeconomic achievement gap. And so important for everybody to know here is Delta. Not that I expect you, as I said before, way back when we talked about this in November 2013, to have the same demographics as Washington Unified, but to share. Between 10 and 30% of low socioeconomic between 2007 and 2013. Riverbank Elementary School, or when you look at Elkhorn Elementary School, which is about a 3-minute walk from the proposed school, which serves the kids that this proposal says it will serve, 85 to 95% low socioeconomic. So I want you to know that too, that that's one of the main goals. And we need to look at that and how that's going to be happening so that everybody hears that. The board also, demographics, we're the only people here that are elected and who are truly accountable for the schools in this district. We are not talking about $1,000. We're talking about millions of dollars. So when you hear public charter school, yes, it's public. It's public funds, but it's not public oversight in the same way that a school district is here with elected officials. We come in, we check on you yearly. The proposal comes back to us after 3 to 5 years. But I want you to understand that when we talk about public schools, so you understand the differences. So we need to feel really good and really comfortable that this is the best thing for kids, because we are the ones who are accountable for all that taxpayer money, and it's important. So we take this incredibly seriously, and when we see signs or learn about changes on the internet or out and about driving on the streets, hear about say a TK program that's not in this proposal, this legally binding document, that's a problem. Those conversations should come from the organization working with us, the petitioners. We want to hear from you before we hear from it on Facebook. I shouldn't have people calling me up and saying, what's happening with this? Look at these changes. Because we're accountable in the end, and that puts us in a very uncomfortable situation and a very unfair situation. I also wanted to share a small learning community that people want. You're heard. So just to be clear, that Lighthouse doesn't completely mirror DEX in that, and it's in the proposal that I'm sure you've looked at. It'll be about double the size. So that piece is there. Class size, our class size is currently lower in our classrooms, to make that point as well. The last piece I'll say is many people came and talked about parental involvement. We all want parental involvement most of the time. No, we all want parent involvement all the time. We want our parents to be involved in our schools. We want them to feel good about our schools. We want people to have open communication, to feel heard. We want that. Everybody wants that. Every school wants that. But I will say that the people who are seeking out parent involvement, it's coercive to have language that says that you will donate a certain amount of hours, and if you don't donate those hours that you will pay. It's actually illegal. And so while online, when I find that place in the policy where it says that, it says, if you cannot do this, we understand, but it also says that if you cannot donate these hours or pay this money because of a philosophical difference, that you should reevaluate why you're looking at this school. And I would consider that coercive language and illegal. And if you want a school that operates like that, that would be a private school. So I appreciate, again, the assurances, and that many things are in there. And so this is a place where I'm not happy that we're here, but I'm going to take some responsibility that this has dragged on and on and on, and it's not fair to families here. And at this point, where we are now, as long as these assurances are tied to this petition, this legally binding document, then I can live with it. Do I feel great about it? No, but I can live with where we are and hope that we can start to truly work together as we want to do, because it's about kids, not a brand or a charter school or a public school. It's really about the kids, and we agree with that. So again, I'm not happy with where we are, and I apologize to all the families. I had asked that this was brought back in February of 2014, and it should have been, and we should have made a decision then. It shouldn't have been dragged out this point. But I hope that you all understand exactly what is in this proposal and exactly what you're signing up for, and I hope that it has been fully transparent, because based on some of these letters, I'm not sure it has been.
Board Member Leland?
Well, first I want to thank the courage and the words from both my fellow board members, Board Member Kirby Gonzalez, and the comments that our board president made. I think everybody should have just sat down and, we could have gone from there. I think Board Member Cruz, you made some really courageous comments and really open-minded and looking at this issue. So I have to take that time to thank my board members. I also want to thank the parents that have hung in here. And I'm not going to say since last February or the February before. A lot of the parents I feel a responsibility for, the parents that that I met with and worked with in 2004, that when the Rivers development was opened, we were going to, excuse me, we had full intentions to put a school on that property. And the numbers and the diligence by the district to support that school, the numbers weren't there. The kids weren't there. And that saddened me because I felt, there was a lot of support in that community, and I knew that the parents, just like you are today, you want to be involved with your kids and you want the best for your kids. And then again in, the last 2012, I know we met with the parents, Board Member Villegas and I, and that's when this word partnership, I thought, began to break down. And I really was disappointed because we had full faith in meeting with the parents. We wanted to work together. Again, I saw a magnet, an amazing, opportunity that we'd have to work with the district to do something innovative, and that shut down, and there was no give and take. Fast forward, I had a delightful tour of the Delta school. Got to go out there and spend the morning, and it was a lovely atmosphere, and a pleasant experience. But the thing that I really, and still, I'm glad we have the assurances that both Board Member Gonzalez and Cruz mentioned, that in those assurances, I never saw the unique educational programming. And I know in our responsibility, as been, stressed here, that's what we want to see in a charter. We want to see something unique and innovative, and I haven't been convinced of that, but I'm feeling comfortable that with the assurances and you coming back to us in certain intervals, and then of course you have a renewal in 3 to 5 years, that we'll be able to look at that. But with the early college prep charter, we've been able to learn a lot from that charter, and some innovative programmatic things have come out of that we think we could apply, across the board. But at this point, I want the parents to really go in with their eyes wide open, that they got to hold you board members and both of you accountable that this programming is different. And it's not something that we could offer at the district, because I'm not quite convinced of that. At the same time, I'm certainly comfortable with the assurances that you've given. And then, again, I just want to say I'm going to vote as a board member, like I'm elected to do tonight. And I feel the heavy responsibility of all the kids in the district. But I'm also going to vote as a mom, because I'm just a mom. And I know every single one of the moms that talked that are getting their kids in kindergarten and waiting in line or wherever you're going to, want to land that child when you put them out in the world. You just want the best for your kid. And so I'm going to believe in you board members and the leadership and the CEO, that you can do the best for these parents, give them the best that they deserve in education. Because I'm just a mom, like many of you and parents out there. And we want to give you a chance because you want options. You want to feel like you have the best. So please, I hope that you can deliver the best.
Thank you. Ms. Villegas? I'd just like to, great comments, and I really appreciate your honesty and truthfulness and everyone's hard work. I'd really like to thank everyone's hard work, from the district to the charter school to the community, and hearing from the parents. It's great to hear from you. Please stay involved. But I'd really like to thank my my, how do you say fellow? It's fellow board members, but you're women. So just for listening and taking chances and really keeping an open mind and working on the assurances. They've come a long way. Both parties have, and I just really want to thank all of you for the collaboration and the open-mindedness, and that's all I want to say, so thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments, questions from the board? So with all that information, we can take a deep breath, and do I have a motion to approve the Lighthouse Charter with assurances?
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
So thank you. The charter is approved. We look forward to being a partner with you. And with that charter approval, the district will sign the Lighthouse CDS code form today. And congratulations. And we look forward to being a partner with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have action item number 2 to adopt resolution 1415-21 for the Bridgeway Island 6 to 8 expansion project. Anyone? Somebody?
I'll take, I can't see.
Scott, anyone?
So I'm going to prop a little bit.
I can't hear you.
You need to elevate.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? So what you have in front of you is Board Resolution 1415-21, and it is for the Bridgeway.
Can't hear you, Scott. Can you talk into the mic?
I think our mic's on.
Can you hear me now?
Better.
Okay, because I can't get any closer to it than now. I'll be The petition, you have in front of you Board Resolution 141521, which is for the lease back for the Bridgeway Island Modular. We brought you an update at the February 12th meeting that gave you a status of where we are on the project. Again, this project is to add a modular building that will make a net increase of 3 classrooms to the site. The resolution authorizes the lease back delivery method attached to the agenda item. Besides the resolution are the 3 documents that make up the lease back: the site lease, the facility lease, and the construction provisions, which have a guaranteed maximum price of $1,295,631.68. The project is funded by Measure V funds, which will come out of Fund 21. Once we open that fund, we'll bring that to you in a couple weeks as well. It'll be a brand new facility fund for the district. Any questions?
Any questions, comments? I have a motion to approve the resolution.
Can I just ask quickly, will this go on to the website maybe or somewhere so people can see Measure V, bond money or?
Yes, I will add it.
Fabulous, thank you.
May I make a motion to adopt Resolution 1415-21 for the Bridgeway Island 6-8 expansion project?
I'll second that.
This is a roll call vote. Board Member Villegas?
Aye.
Board Member Sarah Kirby Gonzalez?
Aye.
Board Member Norma Alcala?
Thank you. Aye.
Board Member Mary Leland?
Aye.
And I too vote aye. That's 5 ayes. Item number 3, to approve the pre-construction services agreement between Bobo Construction and the Washington Unified School District.
What you have in front of you is a little bit of a variation to the lease back. Again, the Bright CTE campus, we brought you an update on February 12th, letting you know where we are in the status of that project. We have a final lease back document that's been created. We're ready to present it to the Board of Education. However, we are not out of DSA. We do not have DSA approval. Therefore, we cannot execute a lease back document. We want to keep the momentum going on this project, and so we are recommending a pre-construction agreement. It's $28,000. It's inclusive of the lease back cost that we'll bring to you in 2 weeks, so it's not an additional cost. We had them break out a pre-construction cost out of their total lease back cost. I think it is also worth noting that for this particular project, we, again, went out to bid. We had 3 different bids. They are on the second page of your the agenda item. You received a bid from Dede Construction in the amount of $6.26 million, Bobo Construction in the amount of $6.3, and Landmark Construction in the amount of $7.3 million. After we evaluated the proposals from a paper screen, we had an interview with them. That is what the point values are associated with them. And the 3 contractors scored 61.84, and 77 points. Point here is that the high bidder was also the highest point score in the evaluation process, and the team deemed that not to be the best value. The best value was the middle bidder as far as cost, and they were second in points total. Again, this is a pre-construction agreement for $28,000. The GMP that we currently have with Bobo is a little bit higher than their bid, because as soon as we got done with the evaluation and determined that that was the best value for the district, we started negotiating the lease back guaranteed maximum price. And in that process, you find holes that were in the bid, and so we tightened up those holes, and the actual price went up by $68,000 over their initial bid. So when we bring this back to you, you'll have a GMP on this project of $7,010,438, of which there is a $500,000 owner-controlled contingency. So the base bid from the contractor is $6.482 million, of which we would be asking you to contract for $28,000, so we can keep moving forward our pre-construction while we're waiting for DSA. Questions?
Any questions, comments? Can I have a motion to approve the?
I'm sorry.
Have a motion to approve the pre-construction service agreement between Bobo Construction and the Washington Unified School District.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Consent items, do I have a motion to approve the consent items?
I'll move to approve the consent item agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are to item P, which is the governance discussion. And all I wanted to say on this note, and anyone that has any further conversation, is on our special board meeting a couple weeks ago in January, I provided the board with a governance guidebook sample, and there was some pages in there that if you get a chance, if you could fill them out and give me your suggestions and comments, because I'm working on typing up the guidebook for us to look at. So if you guys have any suggestions or comments, take a look at it by tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding.
And you gave us that at the special meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you need another copy or something, I have it by email.
Do
so
you, then
I
we can
did-
make corrections, we can do additions, if you
Yeah.
can send it by email.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Any more board governance discussion?
Just maybe announcing we have a board meeting this Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Hopefully 8 to 10, special
Okay.
board meeting.
So do we need to bring our own coffee, or?
No.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Angela's got us covered.
Is there any more discussion on board governance? Future board agenda items? Ms. Kirby Gonzalez?
Just the discussion I had, maybe we can explore, I'll hand this to Dr. Gillian, about the possible resolution for embracing civics education. And I will say it does make mention in here that it knows that people have a lot on their plate in the classrooms, and it's meant not to be kind of that extra weight. So we can talk about that and see if it's a good fit or not.
I just wanted to ask, Board Member Gonzalez, could you send us again the link to how to sign up for the ethics training? Or how we do that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all, yes, if you look at the Fair Practice
Because I don't know if you
Commission,
know
it comes up as,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, I'll send it to you.
Any more future board agenda items? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
President Cruz, excuse
I'm
me,
sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just real quickly, on this particular discussion, on future agenda items, we're often waiting to hear if we sense a consensus, from the board on individual items, and we're not always gathering that, so sometimes we're scratching our head and wondering whether or not that's truly something we should plan to agendize. So when you're talking about future agenda items, if we could just kind of maybe engage in a little more dialogue, I think it'd be clearer to us after the meeting as to what the actual board intent is versus a single recommendation. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
My intent was that this could be something that the district could look into, and then if the district felt that it was a good recommendation, then it could come back to the board, depending on how all of you feel about that. So again, it's, this talks about the power of democracy, which is through the County Office of Education, SCOE, Sac County, and it's talking about civics education. California counties will be asking their school districts to recommit to teaching civics, and not just in the senior year of high school AP or in AP classes, but for all students starting in elementary school. So something to explore was my thought, and then possibly bring back.
So I don't hear you asking the district to give us a presentation or anything on that. Just, and I think Norma mentioned the FLIP program also tonight. So I think when we mentioned programs, I think, I think Jerry, were you in on the FLIP program? I was. Yeah, so if it's something we could just look into and maybe get an update on where we are, and I don't think we need anything by like Saturday.
I'm glad you won't be disappointed Saturday. But no, I was hearing it in the context of a future agenda item. So, it's just, this is helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is a discussion that I'm not certain I want to put it on this next agenda, but most of the other districts in YOLO have single-member districts for their school boards. I think that's a conversation that we need to have maybe in the future. We're the only ones that are still at large as a school district.
I think that would maybe potentially be a board item, but 3 board members would have to agree. So that would be something that we would all kind of have some thought about and come together to agree if we wanted to even move in that direction.
Okay, very good.
Can I suggest you bring that up at the next board meeting to give us some time? Well,
Okay,
you're not,
that's fine.
you're not going to be here.
Oh, the one after?
The one after Memorial.
Is that okay, or is it
That's
something
fine.
that needs to be
No.
addressed right now?
No, no.
Yeah, so we can,
I
that's
think
okay.
it's, yes, I think it's an important discussion, though, because Washington Unified is the only one in the whole YOLO area that doesn't have a single-member district.
If we, as a board, decide to have that discussion, is there a lot of investigation, research? I mean, what would the district have to do? I'm thinking timeline-wise. I mean, how much work would that require?
A bit. We've done this a couple of times and brought recommendations to the board to consider that, and the board has opted not to pursue that. It's something you should consider and talk about. Again, would reach out to the voter registrator, the Registrar of Voters office to get a demographic, and that would help us identify those boundaries that would be reflective of each board member's location. And then with subsequent elections, we would need to draw from those particular communities. So it would play out over the course of time with new elections, I guess, is what I'd say. But we would probably need some time to work with that office. Their turnaround hasn't been very quick, so we'll take a look at it right away, and I'll get back to you on what kind of timeline we're looking at for further, deliberation.
So maybe at
does
the
that
end of
address
March
it?
when.
Right, I did reach out to Freddie Oakley's office, and one of the things, of course, we want to have is a lot of, public meetings, so that we do get that input from the community and see how they feel about it as well.
Can I just say something? Actually, if you look at us, we're pretty spread out throughout West Sacramento, and I think that's actually really good. So usually in those cases, they have a high concentration. I know Woodland, and they have some other districts, but it's a lot of work, and I think it's not necessarily, I don't know, I'm open, but it's not something, we're in the middle of a superintendent search, we're in the middle of a lot of changes right now.
This is a conversation for later, and just, yes, we have a wonderful representation this time, but look at our city council. I mean, everyone lives, quite honestly, in Southport. So that's something I would like to guarantee, when we're perhaps no longer on the board. I want to make sure there's no concentration in one area. I believe it's really important to have that dialogue.
So.
One thing I will share, just another point I think is important in the context of Ms. Villegas' comments. There have been cases of litigation when, in fact, school districts do not have parcels or identified precinct areas for elected officials. And the courts have found it's really irrelevant in terms of the composition of the board in any given time. The mandate or the expectation for that particular configuration is to provide greater representation within various communities. Now, we're rather eclectic, I would say, throughout our community at large. There are some distinctions. We certainly hear it between north and south. But for the most part, we're well represented, I would say, in general terms. But in other communities, that's not so much the case. So the law is kind of blind to what the actual specific particulars are here in West Sacramento, or even the composition of this board that is gender challenged, I would suggest. But still, seriously, it's almost a moot point when the courts are looking at the configuration of the trustees. So it's something I think the board should continue to consider.
Thank you. With that, can I now get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.